So some of the images we saw from inside Congress once the dust settled on those events were quite striking. You saw offices just wrecked, papers all over the floor. You saw Confederate flags being walked through the halls of Congress. That didn't even happen during the Civil War, when the Confederacy was actually a thing that still existed. That's all quite literal, watching that. But there's also a sort of metaphorical sense to this, where some of the senators and the congressmen who have been supporting Donald Trump all this time and repeating his conspiracy theories and his baseless claims about election fraud have finally seen that their words have consequences. That when you call the integrity of democracy into question baselessly, it doesn't just lead to literal wreckage, it leads to metaphorical wreckage as well, in terms of the health of the democracy that you're living in.
They want to steal the election. The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They're ruthless, and it's time that somebody did something about it.
It was striking that about half of the senators who went in to that day intending to object to the Electoral College results, they withdrew those objections after they were themselves put in danger by this mob in the Capitol building.
And I cannot now in good conscience object to the certification of these electors. The violence, the lawlessness, and siege of the halls of Congress are abhorrent and stand as a direct attack on the very institution my objection was intended to protect.
And I suppose credit to them, but it says a lot that they were quite clearly doing it for political purposes. It wasn't out of conviction. It was out of trying to not draw the ire of the president's Twitter feed and not draw the ire of the president's supporters. Donald Trump shows up to a rally right before the vote count starts and talks about how Mike Pence can unilaterally throw out the electoral vote.
Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
Something that Mike Pence has no power to do under the law. That's a complete violation of the Constitution. Mike Pence knew that. Donald Trump was told that repeatedly by Mike Pence in the lead up to that day. Doesn't care. He said it anyway. He fired up this crowd.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
And look what happened. It's almost a sort of microcosm of the 4 years of Donald Trump in power, where it's a lesson in the idea that the words of a president do have consequences. When you repeatedly spread baseless conspiracy theories, people will believe them.
Trump is a leader. He stands for the free world, and he stands for our rights. And if I were in his shoes, I would do the same thing.
When you make claims that have been debunked in court and you keep making them even after they have been debunked, people believe them and they act on them. When you tell people that the election has been stolen from them, that it was rigged, that the Democrats essentially committed massive theft on a historic scale, and that the entire existence of American democracy is at stake, they believe you and they act on it. These people did believe Donald Trump. They went to Washington because he told them to. They acted on it. And this is what we have as a result. One of the darkest days in US history.